Hello YouTube, well, today's tutorial is gonna be about sculpting a skull. It's gonna be a little bit different because I do not have a lot of videos about sculpting. I guess only the first one was about stone or something. But let's take a look into what I'm having in Blender. So that's what I created. First off, most important, when you are just starting to do something anatomic or something human related, animal related or anything, we are just needing reference images. Even though we are trying to get away with something science fiction or imaginary things, we are still needing references. So that's why I'm having also some skulls images. In this way I can get an idea on what's happening, and it's so helpful because there are a lot of things going on with the skull and we cannot keep track of them all just from the mind. Instead, the reality is the best thing to do. So I'm getting a sphere around here. So let's get back to sculpting. Okay, so with this I'm just gonna try to enable symmetry. That's gonna be on x-axis, so what I'm doing on one axis is going also on the other from this side. And also let's remesh. Maybe I'm gonna go for a smaller scale, something like that. So we're having 2500 polygons, which is pretty good. We can see that from the statistics. You can enable the statistics right from here, and now you are gonna see exactly what you are playing with, how much geometry you are having. And we are gonna start pretty big, not just right away 1 million polygons, because that's too much. We need to first off take care of the right proportions and single thing like that, not just right away we go for the detail. We get the shape and then details. Grab the move brush. Let's get the scale, the radius bigger, something like that. I'm just gonna grab from this area something like that. Let's take a look from the side. That's how it's looking. Maybe I can move a little bit the area to something like that, not so much, something like that. Okay, from here I can just grab to like that, like this. And the thing with the skull, with the head, basically here on the top part is just not spherical, it's something like this. And here in the back we can go to something like that, so it's more like cubic. We are gonna see exactly why it's that, because we are having these shapes. Like here it's flatter than just perfectly curved, here it's much more pointed. And what's happening also, I'm just gonna take the scrape brush and I'm gonna scrape on this area, something like that. That's what's going on with the skull. So that's why I'm saying that the skull is pretty pointy, pretty cubic. Okay, let's move also like this. Also I'm gonna scale around this area, so the head needs to go bigger around this area, on this part, and there it's smaller on this area. And also if we are looking from the top, that's the front part, some things are messed up. Like from the top view of the head, the back part of the head is just much bigger than the front part. So something like this. That's what we need to see. So something like that. So we are having the basic shape around here. Let's remesh. Okay, maybe I'm gonna go to clay strips brush and let's just carve around. Now I'm just afraid I'm checking from time to time OBS just to make sure that I'm showing what I'm doing, not just camera on me. And that I was just ready to say I'm finished for today. Okay, I do not need to record again. It's enough for today. Okay, so I'm gonna first thing that I'm gonna do, let me just grab this. I'm gonna do a hole around this area, which is right where the maxillary is starting. Maybe I'm gonna move much more the maxillar, we can go for something much harder, something like this. Okay, that seems to be pretty good. So something like that, we get the basic shape of the scope is pretty good. Maybe it's a little bit long, I think, but I'm gonna take a... No, it's pretty fine. Okay, so we are having this hole here, which is right where the ear is getting out. That's the hole for the ear. I'm gonna take again the clay strip brush. Let's just make it a little bit more smaller, something like this, and I'm gonna do a line, something like that. So we are going around here. Then I'm gonna take the standard brush, the draw brush, maybe a little bit bigger, something like this. Then I will carve inside something like a little bit more, something like that. That's how it's going. Maybe we can smooth around this area. That's pretty good. And now we can carve the eyes. So I'm just making the scale much bigger, and then I will do something like this. Let's just lower this area, something like that. Okay, that's enough. And we are gonna need to adjust a lot more things about the eyes. Like from the side view, if we are taking a look, let's say that this area is going pretty well. That's how it has to go. So I'm not gonna change the camera. So this part here is just much more forward than this part here for the whole of the eyes. And then one thing that we need to adjust also for this, I'm just gonna change the scale, and then this part here, let's say I'm gonna grab this area, is going to something like that. Maybe we can accentuate it, something like this. So from here the nose starts, so it's getting this kind of a slope around here, and then I can point around this area, so something like that. If we are taking a look, we can poke this area something like this, a little bit more. We can go with it. Okay, and from the front view, maybe I'm gonna remesh a little bit, just a little bit, to get an idea, something like that. Here from the front view, I'm just gonna take the clay strips again. We are getting inside with this part until here, so where the bones from this area are finishing, we're gonna go also here, something like that. Of course we are gonna need much more details, but for the moment it's pretty fine. We get the idea, the basic idea. Let me remesh, so things are gonna look much more better, and then let's adjust the things. So that's gonna go much more up, something like that. It's exactly here in the middle, pretty good. I will poke out this area around here, something like that, and this area, something like that. Maybe I can lower it a little bit, just like that. And here on this side, I'm just gonna take the clay strip brush again. I'm carving inside. For the moment, I'm just suggesting how the shapes are gonna go. I was taught from the school that first off you are beginning with just a primer shape. Like let's say you are assuming that the head it's a cube, then you are adding some more detail for the cube. You are adding also a sphere, then you cut from the sphere, and so on. So you are starting from big, and then you go for smaller and smaller details. You are just not gonna start right away. Let me just show an example. You are not just gonna start right away after we've done that. Okay, let's remesh. And now we are having a lot of geometry. Like you can see that the quality is much better. But we are not having everything sorted out. Like let's say I'm gonna carve also a hole around here. That's gonna be the point where the spine goes, and like this. Let me remesh, but okay, like that. Now I can put some sort of a shape around here, something like that, just going lower. And also from what I'm seeing, I'm having some issues with the brush. I will take a look. Best thing to do when we are sculpting, if I'm going into the brush settings here, I need to take a look into the advanced. We need to make sure that front face only it's checked, because otherwise when we are working with thin portions of a model, when we are sculpting on one side, Blender is gonna think we want to sculpt also on the other side, and we are gonna take an overlap, and the polygons are gonna overlap one into each other. So we just need to be careful with that. Okay, every other thing is sorted out. I guess I'm having the basics pretty good. Now we need to take a look into the shape of the eye, because it's not perfectly spherical. Like if we are taking a look, that's gonna have something like that. Maybe let's get it much thinner around here. It's gonna be just straight around here, something like that. So the shapes are much more defined as just lines. It goes here, then here, then here. Not spherical. It's not squarish, but it's also not something like this. Okay, maybe I can go to a smaller voxel size like that. Now I can add the shape around here. Let me just get the size a lot smaller, something like that. Control, and then do something like I try to adjust more the shape like that. Let's do also some of this area, something like that. Maybe it's too strong, but we are gonna adjust that. I'm gonna go to something like this. Here in the back, what we need to do, we are gonna try to make some sort of a triangle, something like that, put over like this. So that's looking much better. Then I'm gonna try to put an accent around here. This part is where the bone it's just really thin for a skull. This here, the bone it's getting so much inside. We're gonna go here on the bottom is going a lot. Here is not going so much, but we need to differentiate the planes. The thing here, we are seeing how the bone is getting out. Is not just straight away getting out, but we need to keep in mind that the skull is not the smoothest thing. We can think about better things, not the skull. Here, if we are taking a look, or a better look, here we are seeing this kind of a shape which it's curved like that, and I do not want that. Instead, I want some kind of this shape to go around, something like that. That's how I want the bone. Also, I'm gonna adjust it from this side, something like that. So this part here is going the most out, and then the rest of it. And also, it's something like it's going back like that. It's not just straight or the other way, something else to go something like that. Instead, it's like this. Let's make a little bit smaller, something like that. Pretty good. Let's go to the clay strips brush. I'm gonna smaller the brush size, okay. And then let's go. I'm just gonna take a look from the front here, and then I just do something like, let me get this so smaller and smaller, something like this, and then I adjust something like that. Let's take the clay strips brush, and now I am gonna do something like to go with the brush. So something like that, that's gonna be the area of the mouth. We can go smoother, something like that. Here for the chin, smaller, we can make this sort of a V, something like that, a reverse V, let's say. Not so hard, just to be there. Okay, and I will try to adjust more the shape around here. So it's going to here. I will try to do this shape. And let's remesh. Okay, pretty good. We are gonna separate also the meshes around one from the other. Now, if I'm taking a look from the reference, I think that it's maybe a little bit too long, so I can shorten it, something like this. Let's also adjust this area so it goes something like that. Also here to get rid of this, so it's more like that, a little smaller. Okay, so I can add much more details. Let's go in like this. Here we are having a curve like that. I can accentuate the shape. It's like a heart shape somehow for the nose. That's how we are doing. Here for the nose we are gonna have a lot of details. It's not just going like that. We are having a lot of holes, but Blender it's a little bit hard to do all the holes, so we are gonna do one line around here, not so accentuated, something like that. We are just gonna have some easy lines going on around here, something like the bone, well defined, something like that. And also let's carve around this area. As I said, Blender is not so friendly with holes for the sculptings, but here we can go a lot on this area, because basically on this area of the bone we are having a hole. The bone is just getting the way. We are gonna keep that on our sculpt. A little bit the things. We can go a lot more like this area, not so much here in the top, just a little bit, just pressing stuff, and also here. But here we are having a lot to carve around. Let's just make some kind of a hole. As I said, here the bone is so thin on this area of the eye, and if you want you can smooth the things around here or not. Okay, something like that. Let's work also on the eye. So I'm carving away some from here. Here it's doing something like that, not so accentuated. Here we are having a hole, kind of a hole. It's not just uniform. Let's also carve around this area, something like that. So now it's resembling much more the scope. Let's also save. The good part, I'm having the camera around here in a good way. And also let's mark where the mouth is gonna be. It's gonna be the mouth of the model. For the moment we are not having enough geometry, but we are gonna work our way. Okay, gonna try to separate more. That's a separated bone, something like that. Here the bone, what it's doing, it's just going a little bit lower, but I'm gonna do that when I'm just gonna separate the bones around this. The thing with the mouth here, maybe I'm just gonna do some lines around here just to illustrate how it's going with the mouth, but not so hard, just smooth like that. So for the moment that's how the skull it's looking, and I think that for the moment I'm gonna leave it as a first part, just easy, uneasy. Maybe what I will do, one last thing to do, the move brush, and I will move much more this area around here to something like this. Maybe that's too much because I do not want it to be just straight, so something like that. So that's looking pretty good for a skull. Let's just save for the moment. I don't know why I'm entering in edit mode, not in just object mode. So that was for the moment. Having the camera bigger here. Yes, that was for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and you found anything new. I'm gonna come with the next part where we are gonna add the details for the skull and maybe make the mask to separate the meshes. The model is gonna be available on my Patreon account for the Patreons. It's just a small support, and I will appreciate so much if you are just gonna like the video and subscribe to the channel to see more coming videos that I'm gonna record, and comment if you're having any questions, guys. That was it for today. See you into the next one. Bye.